I mean, I think it's competitive.
Yeah, the most.
And when we talk about competitive, we're on about a faction that, what I feel like, can compete. Hey, and welcome to this video. We're going to be taking a look at the brand new 10th edition Codex, supplied to us by Games Workshop. So thank you so much in this preview Codex analysis. Now, we're going to be taking a look at a good overall concept of what this Codex is going to look like, and it might even pave the way of Codexes for the future for 10th edition. So stay tuned, because we're going to be going over the army rules, all the different types of detachments, and then giving you a really great overview of other things that are inside this Codex, such as Combat Patrol. Is Crusade still in this Codex? We shall find out. And also, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most important key units in the Codex. And we're also going to be showing you a how to play video for each of the different detachments that you're going to find in this Codex, so we can really analyze those to a much greater degree of accuracy and really give you some much more in-depth knowledge. So I'm Stephen, and I'm joined with Jordan. How you doing, Jordan?
Yes, I'm all good, mate. I'm ready to dive into this alien horde, the swarm, the Tyranid race, and the new Codex. How beautiful it looks.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go into it, mate.
It's pretty exciting.
What can we expect from this Codex?
Well, as a very brief overview, what you're going to basically get is the first few pages. We can expect kind of what we've always had. And if you're used to 9th edition, 8th edition, or any other editions before that, at the front of the book, there typically is a huge amount of lore around the faction.
I love this.
That's going to really help you understand the flavor of the army and also dictate maybe the play style, because Games Workshop do a fantastic job now of helping the army really fit and feel like how they should play on the tabletop. You want an alien race to literally play as it should, especially with such a predatory type force like the Tyranids.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, what's next in the Codex other than the lore?
Well, then it's to get you very excited about the miniature range, and it is the miniature showcase. So in this, you're going to see lots of different of those epic clashes, you know, the Tyranids, some of the new models that are in this Codex versus some of those amazing factions. So yeah, you're going to see a Codex, and that's great then to see in the showcase all the different types of units that you can have, and maybe some of the color schemes that you want to paint them. Because when we go into the detachments, there's no specific detachments like there used to be.
Right, okay.
Some of those classic hive fleets, they no longer have their own detachment.
Right, so we're not seeing Behemoth, we're not seeing Leviathan as a separate detachment.
No.
We're seeing more of a thematic detachment built around the army.
Built around more of a play style.
Playstyle.
And then if you're normally used to playing Behemoth or any of those other types of like Leviathan, then you can pick the one that you feel like is most appropriate to your like chapter, legion. You insert that kind of name there.
Cool.
All right.
I like it, mate. I like it. Well, what else can we expect?
Well, after that, we've got Combat Patrol.
Okay, cool.
So all the Combat Patrol rules are in here. So if you have purchased a Combat Patrol box, everything that you're going to need to play that Combat Patrol is in this Codex. You can take it straight from here, straight to the tabletop with that one box that you've purchased.
Because it is slightly different to the standard 40k game that we all love and play, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Combat Patrol is not watered down, but simplified to a much greater degree.
Cool.
Right. So that it's much easier to just get your units onto the tabletop. There's less like kind of customizable fact elements.
Right.
You're going to get a lot more depth and nuance when you actually play with the main set of rules in the Codex.
Nice. I like it. Awesome.
Okay.
And what's next then, mate?
Well, after that is the forces of Tyranids. And this is where you can see all of your army rules for playing your more like, I suppose, balanced games.
Yeah. Your standard 40k games, your Strike Force games, your Incursion games, right?
Well, with that, you're going to see army rules, you're going to see the detachment rules, and there's lots of different detachments now. There are 6 different detachments you can pick from.
Yep.
So that means with the indexes, you'll be used to playing with 1 detachment. Now you've got 6 to choose from.
Is that 6 new detachments, or is it amalgamated with the previous one?
So what you'll find with this book in particular, it's essentially 5 new and the existing one that you already have.
Oh, fantastic. So we still have access to that.
There are some subtle changes. Some of the wording, some of the names are slightly changed. But aside from that, it's going to feel very, very similar. And we will go through each of those attachments in this video.
Yeah, we're going to do separate videos on them and go into depth on how the stratagems work, maybe make example lists.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yep, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, but we will give you a brief overview today.
Cool. Awesome.
And then we're going to get into the final part, which is Crusade rules.
Awesome.
So
that's part of the Codex.
If you are a Crusade player, and you really enjoy that, then obviously, yeah, I'm actually really happy that this is at the back of the book.
Yes, longer the days of when we had to, I'm at the Crusade, you flick the book open and it always landed on the Crusade part.
Yeah, because you had your army rules, then Crusade, and then stratagem. Now we've got all the rules together in one place, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we've got the points values.
Awesome.
But there's something about the points that I'm going to come back to at the end of this video.
Okay, right, nice. I like it, mate.
Because you might be shocked. But we're going to skip right to those army rules, and they're coming up next. But before we continue, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, The Outpost. If you're looking for great deals on your miniatures, paints and gaming supplies, we've got you covered. Their wide variety of exceptional service makes them the go-to destination for all hobby needs. So don't wait, check out The Outpost today. Link in the description below.
Okay, Steve, so tell me what the army rule is for the NIDs.
Okay, so if you're familiar with the index, it's largely stayed the same.
Okay.
You've got two rules. You've got synapse or synapse, however you pronounce it.
I think it's synapse.
Tomato, tomato,
Sure.
whatever.
Yep.
The most important thing is that you understand how the rule works and to make sure that you can either use it at your advantage and make sure that if you're playing against Tyranids, somebody's maybe not gaining an unfair advantage about using it incorrectly. Okay, so there are synaptic models. Okay, now you'll see that on your faction data sheet that if you have the word synapse, then you can get access to this army rule. But that doesn't mean that you're a synapse creature, and that's really important. You're going to see that on the keywords at the bottom, okay, of your data sheet if you've got a synapse model.
Right, okay, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a synapse model, then while another Tyranid unit is within 6 inches of a synapse model, when you come to take battle shock, you take it on 3d6 rather than 2. And remember, when you become battle shocked, then you can't use any stratagems on that unit, and your objective control becomes 0.
Yes.
Therefore, you always need to roll 2 dice and equal a certain amount, whatever your leadership value is on those 2 dice or more. Trying to roll that on 3 dice is just so much easier.
Exactly.
So making your battle shock check should be really, really simple when you're in synapse range.
Exactly. Okay, so on top of synapse, we also get another ability, right?
It's called Shadow in the Warp.
Okay.
Now, this power in particular is very crucial when it comes to, I think, the mission.
Okay, right.
And it can be fantastic to use against your opponent to stop them scoring points.
Right.
So let me tell you how it works.
Yeah, sure.
Once per battle, it's going to be powerful when it's once per battle.
Yeah, once per battle.
Then in either player's command phase, I can force all of your units to take a battle shock check.
Right. Okay, so this is really good for mission play.
Because if you start failing some of these, then that might mean that your objective control goes to 0 and you can't take or use stratagems on those units.
It's massive.
So it either means you've got to spend resources to try and stop that from happening, or what you've got to do is then have multiple units on objectives to ensure that if one unit fails, you still hold and contest those objectives.
Right, okay. Right, yeah, that's really, really strong ability. And
Yep.
Once per battle, it means that you've got to learn the nuance of, right, when do I use this? Or what turn is it good to use this?
It may be if you've got very good defensive stratagems, and I don't want you using them, or potentially you're on a mission which requires end game scoring for both of us. If I can force battle shock checks on all of your models at the end of the game, there's going to be a much greater degree of me holding objectives over you, meaning that I'm going to score some massive points at the very end if I can be patient enough and wait to turn 5 to use this ability.
Yes.
It's pretty strong.
Exactly. I really like that, mate. I really like that. So, obviously, we've gone through the army rules. We now have detachments, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to just run through them quickly?
Let's do that. Let's take a moment to appreciate Colourforge, our fantastic sponsor. Their range of spray paints has become our go-to for making our miniatures come to life quickly and efficiently. The quality and variety of colours they offer are truly unmatched, providing a smooth application for stunning effects every time. Check out Colourforge for your next hobby project.
Okay, Steve, so what's the first one we want to look at?
So the first one is Invasion Fleet.
Okay.
Now, this is very familiar if you've played 10th edition, the Index.
Yep.
It's going to feel exactly the same.
Right, okay.
So with each of these detachments, what you're going to get is a detachment rule that may affect all models in your unit.
Right, okay.
If it has, for example, your faction keyword, like Tyranids.
Yep.
And there are some very, very thematic detachments in here which only affect certain keyword units.
Okay, I like that. That's really cool.
because it then really will dictate what type of units you put in your army lists, and therefore the different army lists that we're going to see are hopefully going to have a much better variety,
of course,
across the board. Okay,
right. Yeah, sure.
Some units will be very strong in certain detachments, and maybe not quite as effective as they could have been if they're placed in others.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Sure.
So what you can expect from a detachment is a detachment rule. Then you're going to get up to four or so enhancements to pick from.
Yep.
Remember, your enhancements, they're character upgrades. They are pointed. The points are in the back of this at what they cost. And remember, you can place an enhancement typically, not always, but typically on a character model that's not an epic hero.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
And you can pick up to 3.
Nice.
To place on different characters.
Yeah.
And you've then got 6 stratagems to pick from.
Right.
To use throughout the game. And obviously they're going to spend, all cost command points to use.
And you also have access to the core stratagems on top of this.
You do, yeah.
Nice. Okay,
so the invasion fleet detachment.
Yeah.
Very, very briefly, basically at the start of the battle round, you can then select one of the following abilities.
Right.
So at the start of the first battle round, you select one of these 3, and that's going to affect your army. So you've got, for example, sustained hits against infantry and swarms.
Fantastic, right.
So if you're up against an army that's got lots and lots of models, having sustained hits, which means every time you roll a 6 to hit, which is classified as a critical hit, that will duplicate basically and give you another hit roll on top. Okay. You could then go for lethal hits instead. So if you're up against really tough things, when you roll a 6 to hit, that critical hit, each of those 6s will automatically wound. So therefore, you're going to have a much greater degree of wounding monsters and vehicles because it's only going to work against monsters and vehicles. Yep.
Right.
Then you've also got hive predators, the final one. That allows you to basically, when you roll a critical hit, have precision on those attacks, which means you can allocate any of them wounds that you make that are successful onto characters.
Okay, right. Really nice set of abilities. It really gives you that adaptive feel with the Tyranids, right? So you can look at your opponent's army and go, okay, this is more of a vehicle-heavy army, this is more of an infantry-heavy army.
Yeah.
This is the bonus I'm going to pick for this game.
Yeah.
Brilliant all-rounder. I like this one. Senate and 10th indexes, so yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, this could arguably be one of the most competitive ways to run Tyranids.
Yes.
Okay. Now, doesn't necessarily mean it is, but I think straight off the bat, if you're a new Tyranid player, I would start with this one.
Yes.
This would be my top pick because it gives you that flexibility. The others are much more nuanced, but we will go into those. And again, you've got 4 enhancements to pick from and then 6 stratagems. But what we're going to do on the how to plays is we're going to take a look at this in a lot more detail.
Yep.
We're then going to give you an army list as well, just to give you a fit and feel of what this army might actually look like on the tabletop if you're going to play the invasion fleet.
Exactly, mate.
We'll also go over some of the top combinations with some of the units that we discuss in today's video.
Exactly that. So what's the next one?
So the next one is Crusher Stampede.
Right, we all know this one, right?
Well, this one used to give me nightmares back in 9th edition.
Yeah.
It's back, but maybe not quite to the level that it used to be.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Thank God.
Thank the Emperor.
Thank the Emperor.
Thank the Emperor. Okay, now with Crusher Stampede,
right,
this only affects Tyranid monsters.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Cool.
So basically, when you roll to hit, if your unit is under its starting strength,
right.
So when you're looking at your starting strength, you're basically going to look at how many wounds that you have. So if you're like a 10 wound model and you're currently on 8 wounds, you're under your starting strength.
Yep.
If that's the case, you will get +1 to all of your hit rolls. Okay.
Okay. Right,
when you're making an attack, whether that's combat or shooting.
Fantastic.
All right.
Right. Sure.
Then if you're under half strength, then you're going to get +1 to wound.
So this, if you're familiar with Adeptus Sororitas, they have the same rule in their detachment. But this is going to work really well on monsters.
Yeah.
Because these guys typically have quite a lot of wounds. They're tough cookies.
Yeah.
They're hard to get through. So once you start peeling away those wounds, they're going to start getting better.
And you've also got to be below the half strength. So if you've got 10 wounds, you've got to be on 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Because 5 would be half.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing to consider as well with this detachment is normally when these models are what we call bracketed, where they're on like just a few wounds remaining, they normally become -1 to hit. So getting the +1 to hit does offset that.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you get the +1 to wound to make up for the slightly less efficiency on the hit roll. It should be easier to wound.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a really good rule on monsters. As we said, it gives them. As soon as you start taking them wounds off, they just get better.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then you've got your enhancements, which can only be placed on Tyranid monsters.
Which most of your characters are. With the Tyranids, you've got your Hive Tyrants and Tervagons.
Yeah.
They tend to be the characters, right?
And especially the ones that you're going to want to take in this army,
Mm-hmm.
just because obviously they're the only ones that are going to get benefit from the army rule.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
But with a lot of those models that already are characters, they're already hitting on the best they possibly can be, which is 2s.
Mm-hmm.
So having +1 to hit under starting strength might not be as impactful on characters, only when they become bracketed or shooting against something that's maybe -1 to hit.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right, mate.
And they've got some really cool stratagems.
Okay, Steve. So what's the third detachment?
Unending swarms.
Right. Okay.
And it is literally unending.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This is going to feel like it.
Right. What's the rule for this detachment?
So this is only going to affect endless multitude units,
Okay. Right.
which are your small little gribbly guys.
Your Termagants, your Hormagants.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Yeah.
And you'll see that keyword on their units.
Exactly.
And what we're going to do, we're going to provide you is a cheat sheet with what units have what when you come to watch those how to plays.
Yep.
To make it super simple for you when you're making your army list, know exactly what's got what.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just make it a little bit crisper for you. So how this works is when you shoot one of these endless units, if you don't kill them all, okay, and also that they're not battle shocked, that unit, they can move.
How far can they move, Steve?
Well, they can move d6 inches towards you.
Right. Or just towards you, or in any direction?
They have to end their move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit.
Okay. So I've got a question here then.
Yep.
Because we've got one of our little gribblies here.
Yep.
Let's say you've got a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just move one closest, and the rest could tip onto an objective?
The wording on this is the unit must end closer.
Okay.
So providing that one of the models in that unit is closer to the close enemy model, then yes, you could move those models in a slightly different direction.
Really powerful rule.
Remember, you can also move through your own friendly units just as normal.
Mm.
And there is one thing though, you actually have to kill a model in order to do this when you're shooting at them to trigger it.
Yeah, sure.
So a model has to die in order to trigger it.
Well, I'd hope that if you're shooting something at Termagants, Hormagants or something,
You'd kill one.
You'd kill at least one.
But they can also move into combat with you.
Oh, that's really powerful.
Because remember, if you're moving in such a way because it's your turn, you're shooting at me, if I do get into engagement range in combat with you, it's then classified as an ongoing combat. My unit will fight before your unit. So that gives you another conundrum. Right. And you can just keep doing it.
Yeah.
You can just keep moving. So if you shoot, you kill a couple of models, it's going to move at you. Yeah. If you kill a couple more, it's going to keep moving at you. Before you know it, then yeah, you're in a bit of a trouble there.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying, mate.
Yeah, it will be, especially when there's an enhancement which allows you to have your unit with +2 move. So in the movement phase, not only are they moving a little bit faster, that won't affect the blood surge. It won't affect the
insurmountable odds detachment rule.
No,
we're not playing World Eater, Steve. Don't worry.
But it will affect their just normal movement across the game.
That's horrific, mate.
It will. It's going to feel like it.
Yeah. I don't know if I've got enough flamers.
Bring more.
Bring more flamers. All right. Well, what's the next one, mate?
Okay, so the next one is a simulation swarm.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this took me a while to get my head around.
Right.
And I think it's definitely worth, showing you when we come to the how to play a good diagram of actually how these are going to trigger with each other.
Okay.
So it's called Feed the Swarm, the detachment rule.
Right.
And in your command phase, each harvester unit from your army that's within range of an objective that you control can regenerate one friendly Tyranid unit within 6 of it.
Okay.
A unit can only be regenerated once. And when you regenerate this unit, you can when you regenerate a unit, one model in that unit regains up to D3 lost wounds.
Right.
And a destroyed infantry model, excluding characters, is returned up to its full wounds. And if it's an endless multitude unit, you get 3 models back.
Right. Okay. So what you're doing here is you're just regrowing your numbers, your wounds. You're just feeding health back to your guys.
Yeah. So your monsters will just gain wounds back.
Nice.
Characters could gain wounds back.
Mhm.
If it's in a unit, then some of the models are actually going to come back. So if it's Hive Guard, if it's Tyrant Guard, a model will come back on its full wounds. Things like Tyranid Warriors will just come back on full wounds.
Yep.
If it's the small little gribbly guys, then you're going to have 3 of those back come. Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Now, the Harvester keyword is rare.
Okay, right.
There's not a huge amount of units that have it, and some of the units that have it are quite squishy.
Right, okay. Do we have an example of one?
For example, Ripper Swarms have the
okay.
Harvester keyword.
Sure.
The Pyrovores have the Harvester keyword.
Nice.
So they're quite easy to kill.
Yeah.
Which then means it's going to really make it much more difficult for them to trigger their ability to actually either regenerate wounds, and you also need to control those objectives. So there's a bit of a range mechanic going on it. It could be quite tricky to get off all of the time.
Right, okay.
But there's also ways to out-sequence regenerating models, and some units can be regenerated twice in a turn as well. So you could end up with the potential of a Tyranid Warrior unit that can not only have one model healed, D3 wounds, but then also 2 more could come back to that unit in the command phase, and then later on you could also have more models come back as well.
So we've got that Necron feel to the army where it just keeps coming back.
It just keeps coming back.
I like it. It does feel very Tyranidy, which is good.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, this is going to affect, although only Harvester units can trigger it, being healed can affect all the units in the game.
Right, okay, yeah. So you've got to take the units that are with the Harvester keyword just to give the benefit out. However, you can take everything else in the army that you want to take
to heal up
and still get the benefits of the rule.
Yeah.
Cool, makes sense. Next one, Steve.
Yes, the next one.
I know this is your favourite. Why is it your favourite?
Well, it's called the Vanguard Onslaught.
The Vanguard Onslaught?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
what
what
does
it
this
is.
do, mate?
So this detachment rule is called Questing Tendrils.
Okay.
Not only is the name obviously my favourite, because I think it's a great name, but I just really like the rule and I love the stratagems.
Okay, right. So what do they do?
Oh, well, let's go into exactly what it's called. So you've got basically the ability for Tyranid units with this ability are eligible to charge in a turn where they fell back. Okay, so you can fall back in charge.
Yeah.
I'm already happy about that.
Yeah, that's
and
fantastic.
All Tyranid units. So that means your big monsters aren't going to get stuck in combat. They can just fall out, charge something else. Great. But Vanguard Invaders...
Right.
I'm going to become a Vanguard Invader.
Oh, yes, you are, mate.
Those with the character... Those with the Vanguard Invader keyword, okay, and there's quite a few of those.
Right.
They can also charge in a turn which they advanced.
So an advance and charge in Tyranids.
Yeah. Fall back in charge, advance in charge.
That's fantastic.
Because they can do that in addition to also being a Tyranid.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Now, the new beautiful model Death Leaper, he also loses the hunter organism, and he can actually become your warlord, which is kind of cool because, you know,
it's thematic.
This army is all about being really sneaky, yet striking the enemy where they're weak, preying on that being the tip of the spear, which is the Vanguard. You know, strike exactly at the front, where they're weak, whatever it might be. So, yeah, love this. And they got some really cool stratagems. This is definitely the detachment I think we're going to see a lot of. I think if you like your Lictors, your Gene Stealer cult, if you like your Gene Stealers, then this is going to be great. The Winged Hive Tyrant makes a comeback with this detachment.
Oh, no. Oh, I thought he was gone.
He's back.
He flew off into the sunset.
He's back.
He's back, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Right, okay. Well, we've got one more. So what's this one do?
The last one is Synaptic Nexus.
Okay.
And their detachment rule is Synaptic Imperatives. So how this is going to work, at the start of your battle round, you can pick one of the 3 following abilities.
Right, okay.
Now, you can only pick one of these each once, and it's going to affect your entire army.
Right, okay.
So a little bit like what we're familiar with Space Marines and their combat doctrines.
Sure.
Okay, so one of them is whilst you're within Synapse range, and they all trigger on being within Synapse range.
Right.
So you're going to need lots of Synapse models
and
have those units within 6 of those models.
Sure.
You can have a 5+ invulnerable save on your entire army for that battle round.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
Nice. Or you could have +1 to advance in charge rolls.
Again, really good one.
When you need it.
Yeah.
Lots of units coming in from Deep Strike, great. And finally, you could also have Goaded to Slaughter, which means When you're within synaptic range, you get +1 to hit in combat.
Dude, that sounds really cool.
Which one you liking out of the three?
The 5-up invul.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
As much
strong.
as I'm a combat player, and I know you're a combat player, I think the 5-up invul, I'm seeing already putting that on termagants, hormagaunts, and all the little gribblies.
Well, they're going to benefit the most from it because they've got a weak armor save.
Exactly.
But yeah, it just means that you've got a lot of flexibility. On the turns that you present different targets, you can either choose a little bit more sort of combat potential, a little bit more survivability. So I think it's a nice detachment.
Yes.
I think there could be some really interesting play with this synaptic nexus.
Yeah, it depends on what the enhancements and stratagems do in terms of making my mind up on which one to pick.
Yeah.
But again, we will come to that.
Yeah.
But Steve, I've got one question.
What?
Which one would be your favourite one, or the one you think is going to be the most competitive overall? Unbiased, away from the Vanguard, unless you actually think the Vanguard detachment itself would be.
I mean, I think it's competitive.
Yeah? The most?
And when we talk about competitive, we're on about a faction that, what I feel like, can compete.
Yeah.
And in order to be able to compete, you need to be able to survive long enough to be able to score points on the primary, and also hopefully deal enough damage to be able to ensure that you can either, you know, complete your secondary objectives. Can it compete? Absolutely. Is it the most top tier? I don't know yet.
Okay.
The first one, the invasion fleet, I think is still very strong.
Yeah.
But in the right hands, the endless swarm might also feel like that is just a very, very strong way to play the army.
Yeah.
And it all depends on the meta that we're in. At the moment, a lot of people are bringing a lot of guns in order to bring out kill big vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, that might mean Crusher Stampede also comes under that sort of same category.
Yeah.
So if people are already tailoring for bigger stuff, then Crusher Stampede will be out. And then those endless kind of units, which have got lots and lots of models, where a las cannon or those sort of massive rockets and missiles that we're used to seeing at the moment, they'll kill a couple of models, but not many.
They're moving towards you.
And then they're moving towards you.
Yeah.
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 So I really think there could be some play there, and it's going to be very matchup dependent.
So we need to see it out in the wild, really, to kind of see how it matches up to the rest of the indexes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but they all sound fantastic. I really like having the options with these detachments, right? I think they all have a different play, and it's going to feel nice just to see different variants of the army.
I know a lot of people will feel bad that they've lost like the Behemoth, the Leviathan, all the different types of like Kraken, but the good thing about this is that if you've painted your army in a particular way, hey, you can try out this one. You could try out the Vanguard. You could try out the Invasion. You've got so much more flexibility.
Yeah.
So if you feel like the meta changes, or maybe you just want to freshen things up, you can pick a different detachment. It's going to feel like you're playing a different army, but without that pressure of necessarily needing to feel like you've got to paint your whole army in a completely different scheme.
Yeah, it's never going to feel stale playing this army, because you're going to have different, as you said, variants.
6 different ways to play the army, which is great.
Yeah, I really like that, mate, and I can't wait to delve in deeper into all these individual detachments and see what I'm going to have to start killing.
Absolutely.
But should we run into some units next?
Let's do it. And now for a word from our sponsor, C Studios. They are the experts in providing professional miniature painting services, ensuring your armies always look their best on the battlefield. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, C Studios can help bring your miniatures to life. Don't miss out on their quality craftsmanship.
So let's run through these units. What's the first one you want to look at?
Well, I think it's probably easiest to go through them.
Okay, sure.
And I'll give you like kind of my hot takes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over necessarily all of the different stats, but I'm going to give you a bit of an overview and a bit of a flavour for the unit and maybe whether I'd include it in a list.
Fantastic.
So the first one's the Hive Tyrant. This one comes without wings. Now, he's got a fantastic ability. He gives all units assault keyword that are within 6 inches of this model.
So now assault means that you can advance and still shoot your ranged weapons with no penalty.
You've got it.
Yeah.
So who's this going to work great with straight away? I'm thinking already the Vanguard.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because you can advance and charge with some of those units, and now you can also advance and shoot.
Yep.
So those synergies start to work really, really well together. So that's going to be quite a nice unit. But also you've got the other added benefit is you can pick a friendly unit within 12 inches and basically use a stratagem for free. So again, you want a little bit extra help, and those stratagems will become a lot more evident of their power when we go into those how to play specifically for the different detachments.
Exactly.
So would you include him? I think he's got potential to. Yeah. If you want, though, a fast-moving shooting army, his damage output's okay, but if you've got a combat-focused army, leave him on the bench. You don't need him.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. All right. I like him, mate.
Yep. So next up, we've got the Winged Hive Tyrant.
Okay, so this is the winged variant, the one that we were talking about earlier with the Vanguard.
Yeah. super fast, moving 12 inches, can fly, so it can get around the table a little bit easier. It can deep strike. It's also got the same ability to be able to pick a unit within 12 inches and make it have a free, for example, stratagem.
Yep.
But also it does mortal wounds on the charge as well. So again, that's a little bit extra damage.
Right.
And between the two, they kind of hit roughly the same. But this guy's moving 4 inches extra fast. And also he's got that deep strike mechanic. So again, you could either rapid ingress this model, hide it, jump it out, attack where they're weak maybe. So again, really like this one. And it's got the Vanguard Invader keyword.
It's got your favorite keywords.
It's got that Vanguard Invader keyword.
Exactly.
We're loving it.
Yep.
Okay, next up is the Winged Tyranid Prime. Now this is the model that came in the Leviathan box.
Yep.
And you can only really attach it to gargoyles in warriors, which are still true. Now, warriors, you can have the shooty variant or a combat variant.
Okay.
And they've both got different rules, and we'll come on to those later. But this model, this Tyranid Prime with wings, can go in either one.
Okay.
All right. Now, the great thing about what he does is he fights on death. When he dies, that's not that great. But what is great is his ability to give the unit he's attached to sustained hits. So that's going to generate more and more hits.
Okay, right, yeah, really good.
Now, it's not going to really necessarily work very well with the invasion fleet because they already get that against certain things, which you're probably going to be likely to pick.
Yeah.
But what he's great with, he's also got that Vanguard Invader keyword. And when he joins a unit of Tyranid warriors, because he has that keyword, that will carry across to the unit, which makes them able to advance in charge.
It's all coming together now, Steve.
It's all coming up, Vanguard.
Vanguard Day.
Next up, we've got the Neuro Tyrant.
Okay, another one that was in the Leviathan box.
Yeah. And this guy's pretty cool, I think. You can basically, the model that he's leading, you get extra abilities for, like +1 to hit, +1 to wound if they're battle shocked. When they make the like once per game ability as well, then also they're subtracting 1 from their test essentially as well.
That's strong.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
It's got that synapse keyword, so if you really want to work around that kind of synaptic nexus, then I would definitely include this model in here.
Yeah,
and already you can start to see how some of these units are going to fit and feel into some armies probably better than others, right?
Yeah, 100%. He definitely seems like he's got play, which is nice.
For sure. The other great thing is he can also be added into Tyrant Guard. So if you wanted a little bit more of a durable platform, now the Tyrant Guard necessarily aren't the best for their damage output, but they are quite durable. So if you want him to stick around a little bit longer rather than just being attached to a load of Neuro Gaunts, then maybe you put him with the Tyrant Guard.
Sure.
However, there's not many characters that can actually join those endless whatever. The swarm units.
And the swarm.
So if you are looking for an enhancement to go on a character, maybe this is one that you put it on because it can join, a unit that has that keyword.
Exactly.
Right, now we're up to the Norn Emissary. This is a brand new model for Games Workshop and probably my favorite model of the entire Tyranid range.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, mate.
Insane. The model is incredible. I can't wait to paint it.
Yeah.
But basically, you've got 2 variations that this kit can build.
Cool.
You can build the Norn Emissary or the Norn Assimilator.
Right, what's the difference?
Now, the Emissary, they both have synapse. So they're both synaptive creatures. One of them's got a big old brain inside its cranium, whatever.
Skull.
The other one's got more spikes and more nasty teeth.
Nice.
So what you've got is a more psychic output based one with the Norn Emissary. So we'll go over that one first.
Yeah.
He gets a 4+ invulnerable save.
Fantastic off the bat.
Exactly. It's got good toughness, wounds, etc. It's got pretty decent damage output in combat. It's not bad. You've got 3 different psychic attacks that you can pick from to use. And you've got 2 abilities that you can pick from. And at the start of the first battle round, you select one of the abilities. You can either basically select an enemy unit and reroll the hit and wound against it, or you can basically have a 5+ feel no pain when you're near a particular objective, all right?
And your objective control comes to 15.
Pretty good.
Objective control 15.
5+ feel no pain.
Outscoring knights, mate.
Yep. And then also, you've got a 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds, which is okay.
So this guy seems like he's very durable.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to hunker down onto an objective and just stay there.
Exactly.
Cool.
Or you could take the Norn Assimilator.
Right. Okay. I can see this one's probably going to be your favourite more so. Combat, baby. What's he do?
But let's not get straight into combat.
Okay.
He doesn't have the 4+ invuln.
Ah, right.
He doesn't have the 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. He's got the 5+ still. He's got exactly the same rules. Instead of the 4+ for no pain, he's got a harpoon. Okay, and once per game, when an enemy unit within engagement range is selected to fall back on a 2+, that unit takes D6 mortal wounds. So if you try and fall back from it, you just take a load of mortals.
All right,
nice. It's also got basically a toxic harpoon, and it's really good. It's range 12, 2 attacks, hits on 2, strength 12, -3, D6 +1 damage, and if it's against a monster or vehicle, you get +2 to your charge roll against it as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because you could potentially strap reserve him and pick off your opponent's vehicles and stuff that are on the backfield, right?
Make a super easy charge.
Yeah.
Now remember, if you went for the Synaptic Nexus army, that also gives you +1 to your charge. You're now getting a +3 to your charge roll.
Right, okay. I'm seeing it all come together now, mate.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's loads of little cool combos, and again, we'll go into so much more detail on those how to plays. This guy absolutely hits crazy hard in combat as well.
I can see.
So if he is hitting a monster or vehicle, you're going to have to be pretty scared because he's pretty potent.
I'm pretty terrified, mate.
You should be. So the next up is the Neurolictor. This is a brand new model as well. I think it's Jake's favourite. It's basically a lictor with a big old brain.
Nice.
Now, it is a Vanguard Invader, which I do like.
Hey.
It is a lone operator, which I love. It's an infiltrator and it's got stealth.
Which you love.
I do. Every time this model, and all, same for all the lictors, they kill a character, they get a CP.
Fantastic.
It's pretty good. But its abilities require you to be within 12 inches of an enemy unit to really come into effect.
So it's kind of counterintuitive with the lone op for all.
Exactly. That's what I dislike about it.
Right.
Now, I reckon there's a turn where he could be quite potent.
Okay.
In your command phase, you can select a unit within 12, and then your opponent has to take a battle shock check.
Right, sure.
Okay. And whilst you're within 12, if that unit is battle shocked, so did the first thing trigger, yes or no, because they could just pass it. If they do become battle shocked, they're -1 to hit, and then you get +1 to wound against it. It's like an all or nothing ability.
Yeah.
I don't like it because it's not consistent enough for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, I think.
And as you said, it's counterintuitive to the way that lone operator probably wants to play.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, all right. It sounds all right, but yeah, I'm in agreement with you, mate.
Yeah. So the Broodlord's up next. This guy is another Vanguard Invader. The Broodlord gives devastating wounds to your Gene Stealers.
Right, so that hasn't changed from the index. That's nice.
Yep, exactly the same. And he basically makes you -1 to hit in combat as well when you attack him and his unit.
Oh, okay. That's pretty nice. I like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
He's got twin linked attacks, quite a few of them. He'll do some damage.
Yeah, brilliant.
But the other thing as well, they get Scout 8.
Oh.
Not sure whether they don't get infiltrators, but they get Scout move instead.
Scout 8. Okay, still pretty nice.
It's all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not amazing, but they do have in the Vanguard, they'll be able to advance in charge.
Yeah, so that Scout 8 becomes significantly better.
Yeah.
Even though I agree with you, I think they would probably be better off with Infiltrate.
Yeah.
Probably make more sense as well.
Yeah.
But Scout 8 is still nothing to laugh at when you're putting it with certain detachments.
Because it says infiltrator in their little bio.
Well, that's what they do, is in the lore, they're more of the advanced party. They're on the planet before the Tyranids even arrive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
He's still really good. I still would take him.
You're moving 8 in the Scout move. You're then moving another 8 in your first turn.
Yeah.
So you're now making 16 inches up. You're going to advance minimum an inch. So you're making 17 inches. Typically, there's 24 inches between the two of you. So, yeah.
You can pick off an opponent's unit first turn. It's that threat range that your opponent's going, well, what if they do that?
What if you roll a 6 on that advance? All of a sudden, they're so much closer. Okay, next up is the Swarm Lord.
This guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He gives your army a CP. He hits really, really hard in combat. He's got loads of attacks, flat damage 3. He can also make one of your stratagems cost an additional as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, okay.
So if you want to continually using that same stratagem, then it's going to cost you an extra CP.
So he's got what we call a vet.
That's it, yeah. So it can be pretty powerful on certain stratagems.
Nice, brilliant.
Okay, and whilst you're a friendly unit's within 9, then you count as in synapse range. So his synapse range is a little bit better.
I like that. Yeah, he seems decent enough. I mean, combat-wise, pretty good. Damage-free weapons. He's murdering people with his massive 4 swords.
You can chuck him in some Tyrant Guard to keep him alive a little bit longer as well.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of wounds to get through.
Yeah.
Then we've got Old One Eye. Now, the Old One Eye is the Carnifex character. He can join Carnifexes, which is super cool. He's got a 5+ Feel No Pain. He's toughness 9. He's pretty durable, 2+ save. He gives the unit re-roll hit rolls as well. Okay?
So good.
Yep. and he can regenerate up to D3 lost wounds.
Right. Okay. So, oh, imagine him in the regen one, the
Yeah.
regen detachment.
I
Okay,
mean,
Steve.
I think if you're going to take him though, you'd probably take him in the Crusher Stampede, because that's
Oh
where
yeah,
those
yeah,
that's where those Karn effects are going to excel, getting that +1 to hit
Exactly.
with full rerolls to
Yeah.
hit as well.
exactly.
So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think Gold One I've seen a lot of play in 10th edition already.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his rules definitely
Yep.
symbolise that he's going to be doing it again.
100%.
Yeah, I like it, mate.
The Parasite and Mortrex,
Cool.
very similar. What you can do with this model is basically once you're destroyed by an attack, you can then create a Ripper Swarm to pop up.
Nice.
Now,
yep.
the Ripper Swarms do have the Harvester keyword as well, so there could be some synergies there of creating new units with the Harvester keyword to then regenerate your army if you've gone for that detachment. He's Lone Operator, he's Stealth, he moves 12 inches, he can Deep Strike. So this guy's great, holding those objectives, can't be shot within 12 inches, can then create new Ripper Swarms for you. And at the start of the fight phase, you can select an enemy unit and they have to take a battle shock check.
It's nothing to laugh at. I mean, it could come in clutch, but it's not a guaranteed ability.
Well, this works really, really well if you combine it with a Neurolictor, because now there's 2 chances of that enemy unit taking a battle shock check, which then kind of makes a Neurolictor's ability a lot more effective.
Cool. Yeah, I can see that. Right, that's really good actually.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
Next up, we've got Gargoyles.
Cool. One of these Endless Swarms.
That's
units.
exactly it. Yeah. And after you shoot with this unit, you can move 6 inches.
They've got really good mission play.
They've got amazing mission play. They fly, they're infantry, they're Vanguard invaders, they can move 12, they can shoot some guns, they've already got assault, so they can already advance and shoot, and therefore advance in charge. And if you put a Tyranid Prime in this unit, then they're going to be getting sustained hits. You can take up to 20 of them. For mission play, OC2, I mean, this unit will steal objectives for days.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when you combine them with the Endless Swarm one, when they're already moving 12, move in an extra D6.
Yep.
When they shoot, they move another amount, so it's 6 inches.
That's it, yep.
So yeah, they really have so much maneuverability, and they feel like they've got a great place in the Codex now.
100%, yeah. Next up, the Hormagaunts.
Yep.
Okay, now this unit can already advance in charge anyway.
Cool.
Hormagaunts, you can take lots of them. They move 10 inches base. If unfortunately you can't put a character with this unit, but if this unit's constantly running at you, at some point with essentially, they could have all the way up to maybe 60 attacks in combat, hitting on 4s, only strength 3, -1 damage, but as soon as you chuck like lethal hits in there or sustained, that's just a lot of volume to make you, take a lot of saving throws through weight of dice.
Yeah. The -1 AP is really nice on them, I think.
Yep.
I think that just gives them a little bit more, and OC2. So yeah, I think fantastic. Well, decent enough unit with hopefully cheap unit. But what's the next one?
Termagaunts. This unit allows you to move when you get within certain ranges. This unit is terrifying when it comes to combined with the Tervagon, which can bring back models. And then if you're bringing more models back with the Harvester, because they're 2 different abilities, you could end up with something absolutely crazy in regards to the amount of models coming back to this unit.
Yeah, exactly. They really do feel like they are an endless swarm.
Yeah, and that's how they should.
So what's the next unit you want to talk about?
We're going to take a look at the Tyranid Warriors, but with ranged bioweapons.
Okay.
Now, this is a very strong unit. And again, when you put a Prime into this unit, they're going to get that Vanguard keyword as well, if that's something you're interested in. But these guys, they have got, some different options in terms of their weapons, but their main ability is that they're allowed to shoot and declare a charge in which they fall back.
Right, so with the Vanguard detachment, they get
advance in charge.
Yeah, and fall back and shoot, fall back and charge.
Yes. Now, if you were to put this unit near a Hive Tyrant on foot, they would also get the assault keyword on their weapons. And that means they could advance in charge, advance and shoot.
Nice.
So a very, very versatile unit. You can take a Venom Cannon in the unit as well for every 3. And they're not bad. They've got quite good damage output. D3 shots, strength hitting on 4, strength 9, -2 damage.
Oh, fantastic.
They're pretty good. 5 attacks in combat. But when you compare them to the Tyranid Warriors with melee weapons,
right,
these guys get 1 extra attack, okay? The AP's a little bit better. They're only 1 damage, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But they do have twin-linked weapons.
Right.
So you're sacrificing the heavy Venom Cannon for twin-linked weapons with more attacks. And their rule is also different. So their rule is at the start of the fight phase, you can either re-roll a hit of a 1, and it's quite difficult to get rerolls of hitting 1 in this book, so that's
Yep.
quite good. Or you can reroll a saving throw of 1 as well. So they're very similar to how Blade Guard function.
I was going to ask that, yeah.
And again, with this unit, if they'll get the Vanguard if you put a prime in, because of how the keyword shares, and that's in the glossary. That will basically give this unit advance in charge and fallback in charge.
Brilliant.
Pretty good.
Nice.
Really like that.
All right.
So next up, we've got Gene Stealers.
Yep.
They can scout 8. They've got the ability to basically reroll a hit roll of 1, and if the target's within range of an objective, it's reroll wound of a 1. Very good when you combine it with the Broodlord that gives you devastating wounds. So then you're kind of fishing, for those 6s.
Right, yeah.
I'd have loved this to say that they reroll a wound of a 1, and then they're on the objective, full rerolls to wound.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of that in 10th edition, haven't we?
Yeah.
The one thing I'm noticing that's not on their datasheet actually is Infiltrate.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a cool rule to have on them.
Well, they got the Scout 8 instead.
Yeah.
But Infiltrator is just stronger.
Yeah,
it really is.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So that's the Gene Stealers. I think with 4 attacks hitting on 2s, they're not bad. They're going to be quite good at, for example, blending through infantry. But where the Tyranid Warriors come in, because they got that twin linked weapon, obviously then they can start going into tougher targets.
Yeah, definitely.
But the damage 1, you're going to have to drown your opponent in attacks. But if you've got, 6 guys with 6 weapons, or 6 attacks, each that's 36 attacks, twin link re-rolling. Whereas the Gene Stealers are going to be a little bit better due to the squad size you can take with the devastating wounds of the Broodlord.
Yeah.
Maybe killing Horde. Tyranid Warriors a bit more versatile.
Yeah, definitely. They seem like a staple to your list, the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Neurogaunts, they've got an interesting rule. When they're within range of another Synapse unit, they then essentially gain the Synapse keyword, which then gives Synapse out.
Okay, right. So we're projecting Synapse further across the army.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that's going to work really, really well with those other synergies that you might look for example, with the detachment that relies on Synapse. So it's going to really help that. And I think for quite a cheap unit, that's going to be quite good. They've also got the Endless Multitude keyword. So therefore, if they are, for example, in that detachment that really relies on that, great, you can now give Synapse to a lot more models.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you can have Synapse keeping up with the rest of the army as it charges forward.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, Raveners up next.
Yeah.
These were horrific in 9th edition. They're getting 7 attacks each, twin link, strength 5, -1/1 damage. And you've got 2 options for your war gear. You can either have like a thoracic bioweapon,
Right.
which gives you the assault keyword.
Okay.
Now they move 10, and the great thing about this unit is then, because they have the assault keyword, they could start in your deployment zone, move, advance, and start doing like pseudo actions, whether it's cleansing objectives, investigating signals, because they've got the assault keyword.
Yeah, sure.
Or you can just go for slightly better armor save. They're your 2 options. So I think the versatility of the mission play might be good. So I could see like 2 units of 3 of this for mission play.
Yeah.
But they've also got a really cool ability. At the end of your opponent's turn, they can go into the shadows and then come back on.
Right, okay. So that is really good for mission play, as you said. I like it.
Yeah. Next up is Barbed Gaunts. We've seen these in the Leviathan Index. And also they remain very similar. Once they've shot a unit, they can select an infantry unit, one of those enemy infantry units, and they -2 from their charge, their move, and their advance rolls.
Yeah, very powerful ability.
It's probably too strong.
Yeah.
It is very, very strong. Against certain units, like, for example, a unit of Terminators, they're moving 3 inches.
Yeah.
And then their charge is -2. It's very horrific in terms of how it can pin a unit down.
Right. Can it stack with? So if you had 2 units of Barbed Gaunts?
No.
And so they can't put it onto the same unit?
No.
Okay. Right.
Because it would be the same rule that's being affected by,
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because it says 1 or more of those attacks.
Right.
All right.
Sure thing.
Biovores, brand new model, looks awesome. This is the model that basically can shoot indirectly.
Right.
Okay. And its indirect profile is okay. It does have heavy. And it is blast. So although you're going to suffer a -1 to hit, you're going to get a +1 to hit because of heavy. 48-inch range, D3 attacks, hitting on 4, strength 6, -1/2 damage. Devastating wounds as well. So if you roll 6s, it's going to be a little bit more potent. But you can also set up spore mines.
Okay.
Instead of damage.
Right.
And then your spore mines can actually help you with certain mission play or screen out, because they're essentially units on the table then.
Yeah.
So I think just using these things to create spore mines is really, really strong.
Well, spore mines have such a small footprint as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic for like behind enemy lines and stuff. So
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I personally would love to see that go away.
yes,
I don't think Spore Mines should be able to influence the game in regards to the zone that they take up on the table.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't want to just have loads of Spore Mines and you can't deep strike anywhere.
Yeah,
I personally dislike that, but as it stands, that's obviously a very effective way to use that unit.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, Pyrovore's up next. This is the same kit, but you can build it to be like the Flamer option.
Yeah,
You can take 1 to 3 in a unit, just as you can with the Biovores.
yeah.
And this unit, once you've shot, you then remove cover from that enemy unit.
Oh, really powerful actually.
Yeah, it's okay. So it won't affect its own unit, already ignores cover because it's Torrent.
Yep.
It is twin linked as well, which is not
Ooh,
bad for a
that's really
Flamer.
nice actually. Yeah.
Yeah, D6 plus 1 shots, strength 6 minus 1 damage. But the reason why you might want to look at taking 3 units of these, but just one single models, is that they have the Harvester keyword. So you can use these to start triggering to bring back and
Right.
heal your models if you
Yes.
play in the Harvester detachment.
Yeah. No, definitely. That sounds fantastic, mate.
Next up is the Carnifex.
Right.
Loads of different options, really classic unit. You can take 1 to 2 in a unit. You can obviously take Old One Eye
Yes.
in one of these. Now, the Carnifexes, you've got a couple of options. You've got Crusher Claws, you've got Extra Scythes, Talons, you name it. There's lots of different things you can take. My personal favourite, though, I think is probably just the Scything Talons. So it's 6 attacks, hitting on 4, strength 9, minus 2, flat 3 damage, combined with the Heavy Venom Cannon. Because then that's going to give you some good ranged attacks, which this unit and army can often miss out a little bit
Yeah,
from.
definitely.
So I do think 2 Carnifexes with those heavy venom cannons is key.
Yeah. No,
And
definitely.
then that's the loadout I would get. And then each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot after it's shot, if any models were basically hit from this, it can make a blistering assault move. If it does roll d6, adding 2 to result, this can be moved in a number of inches. So you can also move within engagement range as well.
So is that D6 plus 2 to
Yeah.
them move that they're going? So they're going a minimum 3.
In your turn. So if you shoot this unit, yep,
Very powerful.
yep,
Especially if you had Old One Eye in there as well.
yep. But you have to lose some units, and you can only do it once as well. Each time, each unit can only make a blistering assault move once per phase.
So does it lose models or lose wounds?
Just wounds.
Just wounds. Okay, cool. Right.
So if you shoot these guys, they're going to run at you.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be, don't shoot them if they're really close.
Yes.
If you're within 8 inches,
Mhm.
or within 9 inches, because they could move 8 and then they trigger engagement range of an inch. If you're shooting a Carnifex within 9 inches, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If they roll a 6, it's in combat with you.
Yeah. Exactly. And they've got a really tough profile as well. So
Yeah, they're very durable and they
Yeah.
do hit hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. If you could take in these, is Crusher Stampede. Obviously, you're only going to. It's funny with the numbers of models, because you'll never get under half strength with this unit if you take more than 1 in a unit.
yeah. Yeah. True.
Because if you're taking Old One Eye, then you need to get down to 1 model before you are under half strength.
Yeah.
And then Old One Eye then counts as his own model
Yeah.
once the unit's dead. So he's now not even under half strength.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So the only way to really run Carnifexes in Crusher is as single models to get the benefit of +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
So you're only really going to have a maximum of 3 Carnifexes in a Crusher Stampede.
If you wanted to get
Yeah.
the +1 to wound, if you felt like you needed it.
Yeah, I think you would if you're leaning into that detachment, right? Because otherwise you're not getting a detachment rule on
Yeah.
the staple of the list, really, are you? So
Yeah.
makes sense.
Next up, brand new model, Death Leaper.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different to other lictors, and I'll just
Okay.
compare the two together
Yeah.
at the same time. Death Leaper has a 4-up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
He is a character, he can't be a warlord, and he is an epic hero.
Cool.
The normal lictors aren't characters, so they don't give up assassinate points, but Death Leaper does.
Mhm.
Their rough durability and damage output is very similar.
Yep.
It's got the fight first, infiltrator, lone operator, and stealth keywords,
Mhm.
so it's going to be very hard to kill. And every time it destroys an enemy character, like with the Neurolictor, it does give you a command point back.
Yep.
This guy has got an aura. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches, worsen the leadership characteristics of the model by 1. In addition, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, if you're below starting strength, you then basically have to take a battle shock test.
Okay.
So what you can do with Death Leaper is set him up to a single position where he can maybe move, charge, fight, end within 6 inches as many other models as you possibly can.
Yep.
Yeah, and then force a battle shock check to be happen if they're under starting strength. So a little bit of chip damage here and there, taking off a model would be great. Everyone at a -1 leadership.
Yeah.
And then you could combine that with your once per game ability.
Right, to make them double take battle shock in case they pass the first time.
Yeah.
It's pretty naughty, actually.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So there's that. He's not bad, and I think with the fights versus infiltrator, lone operator, you can't shoot him within 12. Same as the normal lictors.
And stealth. He's literally got the best rules in the game pretty much stacked into his profile.
Yeah. The normal lictors don't get the 4-up invulnerable save. They've got 1 less wound, and also once per battle round, they can use the rapid ingress for free.
Okay.
But it doesn't say about using it if it's already been used that turn.
Right.
So if you've got multiple lictors, only one is going to be at a rapid ingress. You can just do it for 0 command points.
Cool.
Okay?
Right, makes sense.
The Exocrine is up next. This guy's got an amazing damage output from ranged.
Yes.
It's heavy, it's blast, it's range 36, d6 plus 3 shots, hitting on 3, strength 8, -3, flat 3 damage. And what it can then do is it gives your friendly Tyranid units that target the enemy unit reroll 1s of a hit of a roll of a 1.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay?
Right, yep.
You could combine this then with the Pyrovore that then maybe shoots first and then removes the cover for this guy.
Yeah, because AP3's really, really great.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Especially when you're taking off cover.
Exactly.
And now the next unit that shoots, maybe the Exocrine after that you've shot with this Exocrine, you're now going to be ignoring cover and re-rolling 1s for the next Exocrine that targets that same tough unit. Yeah. So I think there's some really good synergies. And, you know, if you're playing Crusher Stampede, getting +1 to hit, +1 to wound with this could be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. No, I really like that, mate.
So then you start going to hitting on 2s, even when you're moving.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, Exocrines are great.
Yeah, I really think so.
Yeah.
So, okay, next up we've got the Harpy and the Hive Crone. They're the 2 flyer options. They both have hover, so they can start on the table. They both got the Vanguard Invader keyword, which means there's some really cool strats you can use on them to keep them alive a little bit longer.
Nice.
The Harpy's got really cool abilities. It can fly over you and basically do a really cool grenade stratagem.
Oh, okay,
that
cool.
type of effect, but you roll 6 dice, it's on 3s, you suffer mortals. And also it's got twin heavy venom cannons, which I absolutely love. They're D3 shots, and it's hitting on 3, strength 9, -2, flat 3 damage, twin linked blast.
There's a lot of flat 3 damage in this codex, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There is, which is great. So yeah, you've got the Harpy, really good ranged firepower.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily need the Strangleform cannons as much. It's strength 7, -1, 2 damage. Because I think there's enough like profiles in the game or in the army that does that sort of profile anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the heavy venom cannon is what you want.
Yeah.
Pop those rhinos, and then the warriors or gene stealers can go in and kill the things that are inside the transport.
Exactly.
So I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the Hive Crone. The Hive Crone is a little bit different in regards to how it basically functions. It's got a few different like ranged attacks. None of them really scream out to me. It's a lot more about volume. So you've got like a really good, like the Drool Cannon is a torrent weapon. It's 2d6 shots, strength 6, -1, 1 damage. But again, you've got a lot of that profile in the Nid army anyway.
Yeah,
So it doesn't really add necessarily like the Harpy does. Okay. And then every time you make a ranged attack against a target that can fly, you get +1 to hit.
Oh, okay. Right. So it's the anti-flyer in a sense. But then I guess his weapons aren't really boasting anti-flyer, are they?
No, you've got one of them which is anti-vehicle devastating wounds with 4 attacks, strength 7 -0 AP 2 damage. So that's okay if your opponent has got a flyer because it's also a vehicle.
Yeah.
And then you're hitting on, you know, a much better sort of ballistic skill then.
Yeah.
The damage output in combat is okay. It's got a really funny like Thorax Spur, anti-fly 2+, extra attacks, but it's only 1 attack.
1 extra attack.
1 attack, yeah.
That's hefty.
But it is d6 damage at -3 and strength 10. Interesting unit. I think I still prefer the Harpy.
The Harpy's better.
A little bit more reliable.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we got the Horror Specs up next. This guy's also a Harvester, okay?
Okay.
Big old massive monster. He's getting 14 attacks in combat, hitting on 3, strength 7, -1, 2 damage. He's got some extra attacks as well, which are 4 extra attacks.
Oh.
Strength 14, -2, d6 +1 damage.
Ooh.
pretty punchy.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, each time this model is selected to fight after rolls when it gets attacked, if one or more enemy units were destroyed, that's units were destroyed, not models. This guy
Right.
has to nuke an entire unit to
Okay.
trigger this effect. Enemy units within 6 then must take a battle shock check.
I guess he does have precision though on the ranged attacks.
Yep.
So I guess you could try and snipe out a character and.
But this is selected to fight, not shoot.
Oh, okay, right, sure, makes
Yep.
sense.
So I think what could be great with him is you multi-charge,
Mm.
you weaken both units down, kill both, and then yeah, each time after resolving your attacks, hopefully you've killed one of the 2 units that you've gone into combat with. Because he's got like the attacks are very different profile. You've got like mass attacks and really strong attacks.
Yeah.
So if you could get yourself where you could multi-charge into something really tough and durable, where that D6 plus 1 damage is preferable, and then like some little gribbly dudes or little infantry models you can kill, great, fantastic. Got Death Leap in nearby in that same combat phase. Now everything's -1 leadership when they take those battle shock checks.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Makes sense.
But remember, when you're only making a battle shock check at the end of a fight phase, it's then your opponent's turn anyway.
Yeah, unless.
So then they become unbattle shocked.
So the only way it would be effective, which is very niche, is if they charged you and it happened, but you're not in control and dictating the terms of the combat.
But also, this triggers after you fought.
Right, yeah, sure.
So they would normally fight before you anyway.
Yeah.
And you would have been, if they wanted to use this to use an ability so that they couldn't use a stratagem for defensively, they've already used it by now because you've already attacked.
Yes.
The only reason why it would be good is if, let's say, they had an ability where they need, or an objective where they needed to come and take an objective off you, and you could battle shock them to be OC0 so they didn't take the objective off you.
Yeah.
But we're niche. We're like in the realm of niche abilities.
Yeah,
now,
exactly. Yeah. We're wishing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is the Hive Guard.
Yep.
Infantry, 3 to 6 models. They've got 2 different types of attacks. You can have indirect at 36-inch range, or the shock cannon, which is anti-vehicle 2+. Kind of like your grav cannon equivalent.
Yeah.
Strength 7, -1 flat 3 damage, only 2 attacks on the shock, or the impaler, which is the indirect. Then it's heavy to get +1 to hit. Ballistic skill 4+, so you'll be basically hitting on 4s. Strength 5, -1, 1 damage. And you can overwatch on 5-ups, but if you're on an objective marker, then you overwatch on 4-ups.
Okay, that's pretty nice.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think it's quite good. Yeah,
I like that.
if you can put yourself on an objective, shoot a vehicle with your shock cannon, and maybe it doesn't die, as soon as that thing then moves again, you just have another go.
Yeah.
With hitting on 4s, anti-vehicle 2+, hopefully that vehicle's going to go down.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they have indirect as well. It gives you something in the army with indirect, other than the Biovol.
Yep. Toughness 7 and 4 wounds each. They're pretty durable.
Nice.
Yeah. Good little profile.
Yeah.
We've covered the Lictor already. Next up, this is a standout unit. He was in 9th edition and he's back, and it is the Maleceptor, the biggest brain bug in the game. The Maleceptor is epic. 3+ save, 4 up invuln, toughness 11, 14 wounds. He's got a absolutely crazy ranged attack. It's D6 plus 3 shots, range 18, hitting on 3, strength 10, -2, flat 3 damage.
Oh.
What more do you want from a ranged psychic attack, Jordan?
That was just a psychic assault onto me then, mate. Oh!
He's okay in combat. He's got a strike or sweep. He can have 6 attacks at strength 7, -1, 2 damage, or 3 attacks at strength 9, -2, D6 plus 1 damage.
That's a uppercut to the face.
But it gets even better.
Oh, God. What?
When this model's within 6 inches of any enemy unit, they are -1 to hit. And if they're below half strength, not even battle shock, just below half strength, they're also -1 to wound. Yeah.
My poor hit profiles. My poor wound profiles.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone.
Yeah, he is absolutely
Terrifying.
terrifying.
He really is.
Yeah, that he's brilliant.
He is fantastic.
Auto include.
Probably.
Yeah.
Depending on the points, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, next up is the Morlock.
Oh, I like this guy.
Now, the Morlock, I prefer the Trigon, personally.
Yeah.
Similar sort of role. When he sets up, he basically does a load of mortal wounds. Like little splashes of mortal wounds to different units. It's okay. In combat, he's 16 attacks, though.
Oh.
But he's only 1 damage. He's strength 8, -2, only 1 damage. So he's great into, like, Horde.
I would have liked to have seen at least damage 2 on him.
I think it 16 attacks, damage 2. He becomes a profile which kills anything.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So that you can see he's a real anti-infantry killer.
Infantry. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. Mucilid spores and spore mines, they are quite interesting.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't start or end an advance move within 6 inches of this unit. So if an army's relying on advance and charge, then they can't do it. They can just normal move, but they can't advance move.
Well, that's most of our army, Steve.
Yep, that's us, you and me out.
Yep.
And then also, basically, when an enemy unit ends within 3 inches, you can decide to basically blow one of these things up. And on a 2 to 5, you suffer D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it suffers D6 mortal wounds. And you can have 1 to 2 mucilid spores in a unit. The spore mines work very similar, but obviously they're less durable. They got less wounds.
Yeah.
And also they do less mortal wounds when they blow up.
Yeah, sure.
So the mucilid spores can do D3 or D6. The normal spore mines do D3 or 1.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Psychophage is basically, we saw him in the Leviathan box.
Yeah.
5+ feel no pain. He's really cool. He gives an aura of 6+ feel no pain to your army as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
So units within 6 inches, 6+ feel no pain, adding a bit more durability.
Yeah.
And also, he's a harvester, so he can also help regenerate some of your models.
Okay, right. I like that.
Yeah, he's got a cool little flamer ability. And yeah, I think just for that 6+ feel no pain, he could be a good unit to take depending on his points.
Yeah, definitely.
Ripper Swarms, they deep strike, they're cheap, they're swarms, and what they also do is remove or reduce your objective control as well. So they can be pretty powerful in that instance.
Right, but they're only working in conjunction with units because they are OC0 themselves.
You got it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
right.
They're not going to really take them off you.
No.
They can just stop you from holding it so well.
Yeah.
But
cool.
again, little units moving around the table, engaging all fronts, you name it. But having some reach on the table, nice little cheap unit.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
The Screamer Killer is up next. The Bald Monk, as they say.
The Bold Monk.
He is probably one of the best combat characters or combat units in the game.
Yeah.
For his points.
Okay.
He's 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 10, -2, flat 3 damage.
Again, another flat 3 damage profile here,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, right, yeah. Has he got an ability?
Yeah, in your shooting phase, after this model shot, you can select an enemy unit hit by that, and they take a battle shock check, subtracting 1 from the test.
Okay, cool. So you could potentially stop Overwatch?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, potentially.
Only on the charge, though.
Yeah.
You might be able to reduce the effectiveness of maybe some. You could shoot a unit and then charge it. If it failed its battle shock, maybe they got some defensive stratagems they wanted to use. Could be quite good. But in Crusher Stampede, he's only 10 wounds. So as soon as you lose a wound, you get +1 to hit.
Yeah.
And then obviously you need to go down to 4 wounds remaining before you get +1 to wound.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, I think 3 Screamer Killers could be cool in a Crusher Stampede army.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they hit so hard.
Yeah, definitely.
And the great thing about a model with so many attacks on one base is that it's easy to get into combat. And you can always be 100% efficient. You don't need to worry about base to base because you're in.
Yeah.
You're within an inch.
Yeah.
You're fighting pretty good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, he sounds really good, mate.
Spore Assist up next. Now, this thing here is can basically create you mucilid spores.
So the ones that were basically preventing you from advancing?
Yep, generates them. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Now, it's instead of making ranged attacks.
I don't think you care if you just put in a new unit on the board, do you?
Well, his ranged attacks aren't bad.
Okay.
It's 10 attacks.
Right.
So it's 10 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hitting on 4, strength 5, -1, 2 damage.
Oh, the 2 damage is nice.
It is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can fire Overwatch for 0 ZPs even if somebody else has as well.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Yeah, sure.
And the range is 24.
Yeah.
So what you could always do, I think, is set this guy up in a position where you can basically set up some mucilid spores, because they're super strong.
Yeah.
And just set yourself up for Overwatch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's 10 shots. Yes, it's not Torrent. No, you don't have any rerolls.
Yeah.
But hey, that's still a threat.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. No, I really like that, mate.
Next up is Turvagon, Big Mama Bear.
Big Mama.
Now, she's pretty durable. She's got 16 wounds. She does brackets. She's toughness 8. She can bring back D3 +3 Termagants for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's got like a salvo, 8 attacks, only 0 AP, 1 damage, nothing to write home about. It's okay in combat. It's got a strike or a sweep, but really you're just bringing it back for, you're bringing the Tervagon for bringing models back or giving lethal hits to all of those Termagants.
Oh, lethal hits is fantastic on the Termagants.
So it's got 2 abilities, yeah.
Oh, okay, I really like that.
Yeah, lethal hits on Termagants in mass, especially in either Harvester where you can bring them back, so you can start bringing back more than one. Pretty good. She doesn't have the Harvester keyword though.
Right, okay.
So she can't trigger the Harvester keyword and bring them back. She's bringing them back, but that doesn't stop another unit bringing back more.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
Yep. Okay, next up is the Toxicrene. The Toxicrene with all the long old tentacles. That's it. 12 attacks, anti-infantry 2+, hitting on 3, strength 6, -1/2 damage. That's not bad.
That's actually anti-infantry 2+.
Yep, and it's anti-infantry 2+. Ranged attacks is 2d6, strength 6, -1/2 damage as well.
A lot of 2 damage coming out there.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not bad actually. So depending on the points, I could see some play with the Toxicrene.
Yeah.
The issue is it with the size of the physical model.
I was gonna say it's literally tentacles like come out all the way out here, don't they? Like this.
It's so hard to move around the table.
Yeah.
But anyway, that being said, if you're in combat with it and you want to fall back on a 3+, you have to stay still, so it can stop you falling back. And that's any unit except Titanic. So you can even keep vehicles in combat with you. You name it. And at the end of the movement phase, you roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 6. Each enemy unit this is as well. On a 2 to 3, you suffer a mortal wound. 4 to 5, you suffer d3. On a 6, you suffer d6 mortal wounds.
Ow.
Yeah. That could be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Against things like Cabalite Warriors, you know, like I'm thinking like Drakari, lots of little units, sisters. You just get this thing within 6 inches of loads of stuff. You start rolling some dice, some 4s, some 5s, some 6s for some d3 or d6 mortal wounds, and this thing is going to go off.
Yeah, Squidward's their worst enemy.
Yeah, exactly that. Okay, next up is the Trigon. This is my favourite.
Yes.
Of the kind of Tervagon, or sorry, not Tervagon. The
Trigon and the Morlock.
Yeah, out of the Trigon and the Morlock, Trigon's my favourite.
Yeah.
He can pop up within 3 inches when it dip strikes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. This means he's much harder to screen out.
Yeah, definitely.
He can't charge, but you could rapid ingress.
And there it is. There it is. There's a caveat.
And then you can move 10 and charge whatever you want. Yeah.
I like it.
12 attacks.
Yep.
Hit on 3s.
Okay.
Strength 9.
Okay.
-2.
Let me guess, 3 damage.
You got it.
Oh,
there we go.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, he's a bit of a beast.
It's good.
Yeah.
I like it. He's got a ranged attack, but nobody cares about that. So the Tyrannocyte is next, the drop pod for the Tyranids.
I love Tyrannocyte.
You can basically start in reserve. You've got a transport capacity of 20 infantry models, 1 NID monster, as long as you've got basically 12 wounds or less.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can put other infantry in there as well. If they've got more than 1 wound, they count as 3 models, okay? Now, you can set up in the first turn as well with this thing.
So it is the equivalent of the Space Marine drop pod.
Yeah.
Just it's dropping 20 gaunts on top of you.
But the difference is, this can actually punch you. It's 6 attacks, strength 7, -1/2 damage in combat. And it moves 8. So it's not just a drop pod, which is dropped and looks really sad. This is like, no, I'm now going to come and eat you. So, yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, I can see a lot of play with this, actually.
Yeah. I personally think I would like to put 3 Pyrovores in here. Drop it down, flame everything, remove all the cover off loads of different units. I'd split fire, go no cover for you, no cover for you, no cover for you. My Exocrines are going to go bang, 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 bang from the back. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of Tyrannofex action, which we're going to come to now.
Oh, okay, right. So the Tyrannofex, the big gun platform.
Okay, so it can blank damage. And what I mean by blanking damage is once per battle, you can just change the damage characteristic of an attack to 0.
Right, so this has changed from the index because it was in the index -1 damage.
Right.
Whereas now you can just blank it to 0.
Yeah. Not. Oh, you've done 2d6 damage? Don't think so.
No. Yeah, whatever, mate.
Not this time. Okay, I think, Jordan.
What do you think?
So you get the Flesh Borer Hive, Stinger Salvos, and Powerful Limbs.
Okay.
Now you can swap out the Flesh Borer Hive for either Acid Spray or Rupture Cannon.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so the Flesh Borer Hive is heavy. It's 20 shots, strength 5, 0p, 1 damage.
Okay, so it's weight of shots.
It's twin link, so it's rerolling wounds, and it is all sustained hits.
Oh, the sustained is really good, actually.
But, Jordan,
But
I could swap that for Acid Spray,
I hated these in 9th.
which is full torrent, so I don't even need to roll to hit. I just hit with my d6 plus 6 attacks.
Yeah.
Okay, at strength 6, at -2 and 2 damage. If I've got a Hive Tyrant nearby, this is now getting the assault keyword, so I can now advance and still shoot.
Yeah.
When you move, maybe I'm going to Overwatch you. I don't know. And I'm pretty happy with that. Or I'm going to sit at the back with my Rupture Cannon at 48-inch range with my 2 shots, being heavy, so I'll be hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
Strength 18, -4, 2d6 damage.
Oh, yeah. These really are creatures from my nightmares.
With Crusher Stampede, I think this is a great way to go.
Oh, fantastic.
Because as soon as you get down to 7 wounds remaining, you're getting that +1 to wound with that Acid Spray.
I was just about to say that.
That's good.
It's really horrible.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Tyrant Guard.
Jake's favourite.
Yeah, these units... Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys have been done dirty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There we have it.
They're not guarding any tyrants, are they?
No, not really. Obviously, units can join them.
Yeah.
Character units can join them.
Yeah, yeah.
But their ability is they only confer a 5+ feel no pain to the character. So that's only going to prevent things like units with precision.
Yeah.
And it's only a 5+.
Yeah.
Okay? Their combat isn't great, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can have 5 attacks hitting on 3s, strength 5, -1, 1 damage. Or you can have 2 attacks at strength 8, -2, 2 damage hitting on 4s.
So 2 Power Fist attacks.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah,
they're pretty tough. They're toughness 8, 4 wounds. So if you just want to keep your Hive Tyrant alive, if that's like a cornerstone of your army, sure, take them just for bodies.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And that's probably what you do. Next up is Venom Throbes, though. Venom Throbes, I think, are an essential to most Tyranid's army. Any Tyranid unit within 6 inches get the benefit of cover.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, providing that they're not a monster, they get the stealth keyword as well. So it's helping all your infantry become -1 to hit, and it gives all your monsters cover.
Brilliant.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It gives the little guys cover as well, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah. Little guys get cover and stealth.
But
big guys just get cover.
Right.
Is essential. You put a unit of this in.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's actually going to be really good in the Endless Swarms. Yeah. Oh, horrible.
100%.
Yeah.
Von Ryan's Leapers up next. We've seen these before in the Index and in the Leviathan box. 6 attacks a model. Nice. Strength 5, -1, 1 damage. They get fight first. They can infiltrate. They can stealth. I think a unit of these, right? Because they can heroically intervene for 0 CPs.
Yeah.
I would love to see 3 Lictors, Death Leaper, and 18 Von Ryan's Leapers.
You know Kobe's doing that, right?
What a sickhead.
Yeah.
That is gross.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely horrible. I actually faced this pretty much right in the Index Hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're right on your face turn 1.
Because if you want to charge, if you want to get close to shoot those Lictors, then this unit's ready to go. Right behind cover, ready to leap out. If you charge the Lictors, these guys heroically intervene.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool, you know.
It is. It's a very cool aspect to the unit.
And when you combine heroic intervention and fight first, that's a super strong ability. So Zoanthrobe's up next. Again, another really strong unit here. 4 up Inbun. Toughness 5, 3 wounds. But their attacks are so good.
Yes.
You've got 2 types of attacks. You've got 24-inch range, D3, strength 7, -2, D3 damage. Or you've got 1 shot, lethal hits at hitting on 3, strength 12, -3, D6 plus 1 damage, and while a friendly Tyranid unit is within 6, models have a 6+ invulnerable save.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, it can do some battle shock as well in other bits. But really, the stack for me, the defensive stack, is a unit of Zoanthropes, okay, with a unit of Venom Throbes. So now your army's getting a 6+ invulnerable save that are within 6 of these 2 units. They're also going to have -1 to hit and potentially cover, or
Yep.
sorry, cover and potentially -1 to hit. And you put one of those psychophages
I was
in
just about to
for the 6+ feel no pain. So you've got a 6-up invuln, 6-up feel no pain, cover,
stealth.
maybe stealth. So a lot of defensive buffs.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think from what we've seen in this index or this codex,
Yeah.
you've got synergy units or units that are going to buff the rest of your army, and then you've got your hitting units.
Yeah.
So it really works in tandem with each other, and it's nice.
Yeah. Now there is a couple of things to mention about this as well. Crusade then is at the back of the book.
Okay,
So
right.
if you enjoy your Crusade, you'll find that at the back of the book. I'm a big fan of it being at the back because then it doesn't get in the way of the rules.
Definitely.
And you've got all the different things like your relics and stuff like that if you're into Crusade. So yeah, give it a try. Let us know what you think of Crusade. We haven't tried it yet, so it'd be interesting to find out your opinion of the new way that this is working. It's an area that we haven't looked into, so let us know in the comments if you have tried it or what you think. And then there is points.
Right.
So there is points in this book.
Okay.
However,
Oh.
it says here, in addition to these point values printed here, you can always use, in agreement with your opponent, basically the online points values.
Right. So these are the points values for the codex.
Yep.
But then there's updated ones on the app and stuff.
So the ones that are on the app or on Warhammer Community are going to be the ones that are kept in greater balance.
Right.
So what I would suggest you do if you're a competitive player is just use the points available that are online.
Yeah.
These points values in here are simply, maybe you're having a pickup game, you haven't got the app, and you just want to buy the book and have you some points to play your army with, you've got something to go with.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're a competitive player, use the points values that are available online or that are on the app.
Yeah.
They'll always be hopefully kept to a much greater degree of balance than these points values in this codex because they're printed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is just, hey, you can play some games with some points, but they're not necessarily meant to be used for competitive play.
Cool.
All right.
Right, sure. Yeah, makes sense.
And there we have it. That's the review.
Ah, right. Great codex.
It's pretty strong.
It's pretty strong, yeah.
Now, we've got loads more content coming up for you. We've got all the different detachments and an understanding and greater degree of how they're going to synergize together. But we've also got our masterclass series. And our masterclass series on Tyranids isn't just going to help you play Tyranids if you're a Tyranids player. Most importantly, what we're going to do on the masterclass series is tell you everything you can expect to play against so you're able to actually play against Tyranids with confidence. And that's the real key, because we all hate feeling like there's gotcha moments and, you know, just that kind of, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen, or I just feel a bit overwhelmed with what you're telling me. If you do the masterclass, we're pretty confident that you're not going to feel like that. We've designed it in such a way that really makes you feel at ease playing against Tyranids. We can often feel like there's codex creep and every codex is stronger than the last and they always come out really, really strong. And it's normally because we haven't figured out the ways to beat them. So we're going to help you speed up that process and just make you feel really confident when you're playing against the army. So if that's something you're interested in, we've got a sign up for below in the description. Just you can drop your email address in there, and then as soon as the course is ready, we'll email you when that is out. So yeah, that is going to be our paid for course, a little bit or a lot more in depth than what we've gone over today. And we're already going to assume that you've got some knowledge of the Tyranid Codex. Hopefully you've watched this video and some of our how to play the detachments or detachment focuses, and then you'll have a really great point of entry to the masterclass for Tyranids.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so anyway, we hope you've enjoyed it. Jordan, what do you think?
I like it. I'm intimidated by it.
Yep.
It's going to be a new challenge. I mean, I haven't managed to beat Tyranids yet in 10th. And this codex is very strong. But there's some really nice units and cool combos in here. That's nice.
Well, as a Blood Angel player, mate, you need to start learning to defend Baal. So the new menace is upon us.
Yes.
And we'll see you on another video. Keep playing 40k.